I was a little worried about riding the bike today because it was supposed to be so hot. But now it's chilly and got a lot of rain. Oh, look at that guy. The rain was not supposed to hit us, but it did, and it got so windy I thought the Grom was gonna fall over. That would have been the worst day ever. Worst day of my life. Harley riders, you suck. Alright, before we talk about crappy Harley riders, and yes, I'm riding my Grom today so nobody knows that I am a Harley rider, go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't watched my other videos, do that because they're awesome. Click that bell, get you some notifications. Help support the channel by watching my ads all the way through. It's not that hard. And just so you know, you can win my Fiat 500 abarth. Click on that video to learn how. Nobody wants to, apparently. If someone was giving me a car, I'd go for it. A lot of times when people wave at me on bikes, I just give them a head nod, and I never know if they even notice. That's some backed up traffic. Get off your phone, slut. I find myself watching a decent amount of Harley videos, only the cool ones, so mostly Sportsters. And I noticed a lot of things Harley riders do that could possibly make people think that they're not very good motorcycle riders. So I'll go over some of these things and then I will, as a Harley rider, give you what I think would be the reasons that these things happen, and then also I'll give you my summary on whether or not Harley riders are bad riders. And I'm not saying this is all of them or the majority even, just some of them. A lot of them could be way better than any of us. I'm not generalizing, I'm just stating what I've noticed. First thing is, Harley riders just don't lean their bikes. They do not lean very far. They kind of just cruise. I don't really see any extreme riding. They like the curves a lot, but they don't like to lean all that much. There's a big reason for this. Harleys aren't made for leaning, most of them. Some of them can lean okay, like mine. The Roadster can lean okay. But if you lean too far, you're gonna scrape those pegs, and some people find that fun, some people don't. But really, Harleys just don't lean. That is most likely why you don't see a lot of Harley riders touching a knee down in the curves. Go, little guy. A Trans Am, what is this guy, from the freaking 80s? Even though it's a 2000s model. I hate how Firebirds have the Trans Am model, so if you're like, ooh, it's a Firebird, they're like, no, it's a Trans Am. Okay, shut up. This bike feels good and light after riding the Harley for a while. Another thing I've noticed, Harley riders shift really slow. It's kind of annoying to watch, but here's what I know is happening. It sucks to shift a Harley. Harleys have big, clunky gearboxes. They're not smooth at all. The clutch is usually pretty heavy. And it's hard to shift a Harley fast. You can do it. Go look at my videos. That's about as fast as I can shift a Harley. But if you've never ridden one, they're clunky. And then you hop on something like a Grom, some sort of Japanese sport bike, and it's just click, 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 super fast. But one funny thing is when you're going full throttle on this Grom and you shift, the whole bike wiggles like this. Pretty crazy. Kind of scary, kind of fun. Anyway, so again, it's the limitations of the motorcycle. They're not really made to shift fast, just like they're not really made to lean. Now, does being able to wheelie make you a good rider? I would argue yes. You have to be a pretty skilled rider to wheelie a motorcycle. And a lot of people do it. A lot of people wheelie Harleys. And it takes a lot of skill. You gotta be a good rider to do it. But you don't see the majority of Harley riders out there hooning around, doing wheelies, going crazy. The people that do that are usually specifically alter their bike to do that. You don't see many normal everyday Harley riders doing a wheelie down the highway. I almost every day see a sport bike rider doing a wheelie down the highway and accelerating fast. You don't really have to be a great rider to accelerate fast, but you gotta admit that most of the bikes you see recklessly accelerating are sport bikes. And yes, Harleys aren't as easy to wheelie as sport bikes are. They're heavy, they're bulky, they're big. They don't have a whole lot of power, but I don't think that's the main reason. I think Harleys attract a more mature type of rider. This also goes along with the other points. A more mature type of rider doesn't really care about getting their thrills, touching a knee down through the corners. A more mature kind of rider isn't going to put himself and others in danger doing wheelies down the highway, not going to want to risk his motorcycle doing wheelies. Harleys, just young or old, Harleys attract more mature riders, from what I have noticed. Those are some of the main things I've noticed about Harley riders that could give the impression that they are bad riders. But as you heard, a lot of it has to do with the limitations of the bike, and ultimately it has to do with how mature the rider is. Now, in summary, could a Harley rider jump on a sport bike and be a skilled technical rider? Probably not. Most of them probably couldn't. Most of them probably couldn't get on a sport bike and drag a knee. Most of them probably couldn't wheelie a sport bike if they tried. So in a sense, Harley riders probably aren't as skilled as sport bike riders. That's my final verdict. You can argue with me. Don't be an idiot. I'm not saying all Harley riders. Of course, there are exceptions. Okay? So don't be like, oh, well, my friend, he wheelies his Harley all the time, and he can drag a knee on my sport bike. And okay, that's cool. I'm not talking about all Harley riders. There's gonna be people who can. I'm talking about the typical average Harley rider. Everyone goes so slow on this road, as I've said before, but on the Grom it's good, because then I don't have to feel like I'm the one holding up traffic. Why are you still here? Leave. Go watch one of my other videos.